there, it's Christian Youngren with KAIZEN Automotive Consulting bringing you more best automotive practices. In this week's edition, I'm going to show you how to memorize word tracks with my 5-step process for memorizing sales word tracks and scripts. Now, if this is your first time to our channel and you want to improve your automotive selling skills, learn how to use psychology to close more car deals, and receive unbiased reviews on dealership product and service companies, make sure you subscribe and then turn on the bell so you never miss out on learning anything new. Well, all right then, let's go to work. Here's how you do it. The first thing you do is you figure out exactly how you want to say it. So you could just plagiarize exactly what I've got. There's some key words in there. One thing I say about word tracks is that, yeah, can I change some of the words? Sure you can, but just remember this. It's no different than making a chocolate chip cookie recipe. Say your grandma makes killer chocolate chip cookies, and she gives you the recipe and you start trying to follow the recipe, but you forget to put in the butter, or the cookie's gonna taste the same. So there's certain words in here that are butter. When I say, hey, you know what, to put another guest in your seat to look at your car, and I start doing that pointing and that type of thing, to me that's butter. That's something that you want to keep in there. So you're gonna never probably deliver them word for word every single time, but because you've got them down, you don't really have to think much about it. You can just kind of spit it out, and then you get your tone of voice and fluctuation that you can now work on. So the first thing you do is you write out exactly. So for instance, let's say that word track you've got for the pre-discount. So you can write it out on note cards. Okay, that one I had to write on like 4 different note cards because I just broke it down into different sections. I kind of in my mind, and you all can do it too, see where do we segue? Where's kind of a pause? And then I would work on each word, each part of that. So you're going to put it on little note cards. And the reason you do that is because you can put it in your pocket. And then here's the part that some people, it sounds easy, but it's kind of like anything. It's easy to do, but it's easy not to do, right? A lot of things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. So here's what you got to do. 10 times a day for 7 straight days, you have to read this to yourself. Not memorize it. Don't try to memorize it. Just read it off the card. Read it off the card 10 times a day. Now, it's not super duper easy because you've got to space this out. I don't want you just to sit and read it 10 straight times. Because spaced repetition is the mother of all learning. Spaced repetition is the mother of all learning. Spaced repetition. Repetition is the mother of all learning. I've said that a bunch of times. That shows some repetition. I didn't space it. But spaced repetition is the mother of all learning, so you want to practice this 10 times. The way I would do it, the way I have done it in the past, is set an alarm on your phone, put something on your finger to remind you, put a rubber band around your wrist, something. And every hour on the hour, at the quarter of an hour, whatever you decide is working for you, you're going to read that to yourself. Now, that particular one probably takes a minute to read, maybe. Let's say it takes 2 minutes. So we're talking not a lot of time. We're talking about maybe 20 minutes out of your day, maybe. I don't think it even takes 2 minutes. So what you do is you read this for 7 straight days. On day 3, though, on day 3, now you've been practicing it out loud, reading it so many times, you're starting to get the tone and voice and fluctuation down like you want. You're like, you know, I want to emphasize this. So on day 3, you want to record it. Record it on your phone, and then I want you to listen to it from then on for 3 times a day. So you're going to listen to it 3 times a day. Now you're going to listen to it in the morning, you're going to listen to it in the evening, and you're going to listen to it sometime in the middle of the day. I don't care when you listen to it in the middle of the day, you space that out. The reason for the morning and the evening is it's proven your subconscious mind is more susceptible to suggestion during the first 20 minutes when you wake up and the last 20 minutes before you go to bed. Okay, so you can take advantage of this life hack by just go ahead and read it. At least I'm going to read one of them, so I really don't have to come up with 8 more times. I do one when I first get up or get a coffee, and about 10 minutes later read it, and then before I go to bed I'm going to read it. So I only need to do it now 8 more times. And if you got an 8-hour work day, then you just read it once an hour during work, because it's kind of work, right? I mean, it's really kind of work stuff. So you do that. So for the first 7 days, you're going to have read this thing a minimum of 70 times to yourself, and you're going to have listened to it probably about 12 to 15 times, somewhere in there, because you're going to continue that for 7 straight days. Now, on day 8, now you're going to go ahead and you're going to try to start working on this without a net. So now you're going to put your cards away, and 3 times a day you're going to flip your phone around, and you're going to record yourself saying it. You're not going to send it to YouTube, you're not going to send it to Facebook, you can send it to me if you want, but you don't want to send it, you're just practicing it on video. It's interesting how when you flip the video on, when I bring that in, everybody always gets nervous when I bring it into stores. Like, what's that for? Because they think they're going to get recorded. Well, half the time I'm recording my presentation so I can fine tune it and make it better, maybe put some of it on YouTube. But the point is you game will go up a couple notches whenever you're recording. It's even when you're sitting by yourself, it's just the way you are. Because you're like, okay, this is kind of recorded. I know I can delete it, but it's kind of recorded. So you're going to raise your game a little. But what you're really doing is watching yourself, your tone and voice and fluctuation. You're picking up on your body language. You said 55% of communication was through body language. So you'll pick up on that. One thing I've picked up on myself is I get really determined. Imagine that. I get really determined and I get really, really into it and I get a frown on my face. And I'm like, no. And it's not because I'm like mad. It's like this determined look. It's kind of like when you're playing sports and you've got this kind of determined look on your face, and it's kind of that. And so I've realized over the years, hey, you have to push the smile because you're not smiling during these. So take advantage of the pauses and smile during those times. So that's what you do. And then after you're done with the 14 days, you're going to be amazed. You're like, I didn't really even try to learn it that hard, and I just like know it flawlessly. And it's like, anybody ever in here watch Karate Kid? Come on. Which one? Either. You watch either of them? Because either of them, there's a Karate Kid moment. Okay, in the first one, it's when they've been wax on, wax off, and he's been doing this, and he gets pissed off, right? Danielson gets pissed off, and so Miyagi shows him why he's doing that, and Miyagi starts coming at him and starts throwing punches at him, and he down blocks and goes, freaks out, man. He's like, or actually, I think he goes, wax on or wax off, and he freaks out. He looks at his hand, remember? He goes, and the same thing with Jalen and Jalen from the second one, where he's over in Japan, right? And he's doing, or China, when he's over in China. He does the same thing. He looks at the instructor, and this is what'll happen to you. When you guys practice this, like I'm telling you, you're like, shoot, where'd that come from? You're just like, close, all of a sudden, next thing you know, you want a pop or you want a soda, coffee, or water while we finish this up. You're like, well, wow, that was cool. So that's how you can do it. Now, after you're done with the 14 days, the good news is you don't have to do it 10 times a day. But if you want to keep it, there's a saying out there, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're not staying the same. So if I don't practice them every day, or at least every other, or a certain amount of time, at least maybe take half. If you get a bunch of them, you get, say, 20, maybe do 10 one day, 10 the other day. But practice them once a day, just read through them. I've found over the years, it's not so much what companies say about themselves, it's really more about what people say about the company after they've worked with them. So I wanted you to hear some of the testimonials and things that people say about working with Christian Youngren at KAIZEN Automotive Consulting.
But having somebody that actually was able to animate it like a salesman and tell me how it should work, that's what is my takeaway.
A mentor, someone to talk to, let them know what my issues are and help me work through it.
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I think a lot of the stuff that you said, I can use all the time. I wish there was more of it.
Doing these one-on-ones has actually given me more confidence in talking to the customer instead of, oh, there goes one, let's just see what they do.
I think you're going to have a really high success rate with your trainees when they're done.